So Marty, this is the famous Cox Plate start, 2,040 metres. Obviously the crowd goes wild when the gates open. Tell us why you like this start so much.
Probably from the history of the race. Over 100 Cox Plates run at this great venue, and you hear jockeys talk about the atmosphere on Cox Plate Day and before the start and when they jump the roar. And I've been fortunate enough to see 41 Cox Plates, and every time it gives me tingles in my spine. There's been many years where I've been at the start for the Cox Plate, and then the last 15 years I've been fortunate enough to be at the weigh-in, and watch the races up there. But it's just one of the greatest races in the world. Group 1, a tough race. Only good horses win Cox Plate. You only got to look at the honour roll and some of the horses that are on that, to say that it is the race that everyone wants to win. And I've just been privileged to be involved and prepare this track for some of our best equine athletes in the world.
So Marty, now we're at the 1,600 metre start, the home place of many a famous mile, including the Fiend, the Crystal Mile, the All-Star Mile, but Friday night we've got the Marty Synan Mile. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, it's for the second time too, Benny. So I had the Marty Synan Mile back in for my 25 years. So very honoured to have a race named in my name, and probably moving forward, the club would think about trying to be able to make it into a Group 1. So could be one of the greatest miles ever at the Valley. And on the new track, it'll start from where the current Cox Plate start is, the mile race. So I think that'd be great, and I can come back every year and present the trophy. That'd be great.
So Marty, now we're at the 1,200 metre shoot. 2 of our Group 1s are run from this exact position, and we're here to talk about some of the best sprinters you've ever seen. The first one, Manicato. He passed away in 1984. He was an absolute champion, and that's the year you joined the Valley. Yeah,
exactly right. And I was lucky enough, well, I wouldn't say lucky, but I was involved in where we buried him now, up there in Tate Park, where his resting place is. And he was a superstar of this race course. He won 5 William Reeds, and that'll probably never ever be done again, horse to do that. So an amazing horse and a beautiful animal. So, and I'm glad that he's here at Moonee Valley as his resting place.
Talking about things that'll never be done again, Black Caviar, 25 from 25, and she absolutely loved the Valley. Tell us about her.
Yeah, she did. She won 8 races here out of her 25, and that's an amazing record on its own. And yeah, she was probably the best horse we'll ever see, even though we've got horses like Winks and all that. But to go through her whole career undefeated, it's an amazing training effort. And I think she only had maybe 3 jockeys in that whole career. And Lukey Nolan, who's a great bloke, rode her for most of those wins. So yeah, another horse that I just had the pleasure to being up close to with in my role and being here at Moonee Valley.
And one of my personal favourites, Chautauqua, obviously won the Manicato in thrilling fashion. That was actually my first time ever on a racetrack here that Friday night. Tell us about Chautauqua.
Yeah, I mean, he was an amazing horse too, and rode with luck, and we saw what he did in Hong Kong and places like that around the world, and even here in Australia, the way he used to just ride for luck or race for luck every time, and come with that swooping run, and 9 times out of 10 he'd win when he gets those when the races run to suit. But he was another superstar, and we're lucky enough to see him at the Valley for some of our biggest nights in the night racing. Even though I think it was his last start, he stayed in the barriers, but that might have a bit to do with the trainer, not his dad and his brother either, the bloke who lives in Melbourne.
Yeah, I remember those couple times, and I don't think I've ever heard a louder groan when Chautauqua didn't jump from those stalls. Yeah,
and even then he did come out eventually and just trotted around, and the applause that he got coming down the straight, it was like he won the race even though he didn't even compete. So but no, it's about the good memories we had with Chautauqua. He was a superstar, and like I said, another horse that I got the opportunity to be up close with.
So Marty, now we're at the 800. This has been your workplace for 41 years. And it's also where you lived, where you called home for 20 years as well.
Yeah, exactly right. And I've walked up and down these stairs many a times here at the Valley, going out to do going sticks and going out to do rail and going out to water and all that sort of stuff, and check the rain gauge and all that. And it's been a big part of my life. And as you can see, I lived in that house when I first started living on the Valley, and that was in about 2000. And then when I got married and had the kids and that, we moved into the other house. Even though it's a bit smaller, I had a bigger backyard, so we could lock the kids in there and just let them run around. And then this is our workshop area for all the track and grounds boys, and my office upstairs there. And they call that the Eagle's Nest, so that's where I sit up there and just keep an eye on everyone.
So Marty, we're back on the track. This is the 800 metre turn. And as you were saying off camera, usually the jockeys wait till about the 500 to start going, but in the Cox Plate, they get going nice and early, don't they?
Yeah, without a doubt. As I said, because it's such a high pressure race, they do seem to probably go a little bit early, and that's what makes it such a great race, because the horses are probably a little bit spent when they get into the straight, and then get that opportunity for horses to run on. And there's that famous picture from the Maccabee Diva, Cox Plate, where they're like 12 wide coming up the side here, and Maccabee Diva sitting about 15 off the rail and under a stroll, and all the other boys are under the whip. So won another famous Cox Plate, and we all know how good Maccabee Diva was in the Melbourne Cup. But probably if he had a mate running more Cox Plates, probably would have won more Cox Plates. But won the one, so he's won the greatest race in the world. Like I said, Melbourne Cup's only a handicap. Got to win a Group 1 weight for age, which is the Cox Plate.
Yep, fancy trying to get the best stayer we've ever seen beaten in a staying test.
Yes, true. But we've been very fortunate to have so many great horses that have won the Cox Plate and won Melbourne Cups and even Caulfield Cups into Cox Plates. It's pretty amazing effort to train a horse to do that, because of the type of races they are and the different distances. But I don't think we've ever had one win the 3 in 1 year, so that's one thing that'll probably never happen. But won't probably happen on this track, but it may happen on the new track, you never know.
So Marty, now we're heading up to the 600, where the famous 1992 Cox Plate fall took place. Obviously the favourite was Naturalism, who lost his rider, and also the winner was Superimposed, who came right around the outside to win. Tell us about that race and why it's your favourite.
Yeah, and I still say that to this day. Every interview I do, they always ask me what's my favourite Cox Plate in the 41 years, and I still put that one at the very top. As I said, there was previous Cox Plate winners in that race. We had the best 3-year-olds in the country, and Naturalism being the favourite, he got interfered with that fall and lost the rider, and Citizen fell as well. Not that it's the worst part of my job is when a horse falls, or we have falls in races, because a horse can get injured and jockeys can get injured, and it's the hardest part of my job. But back then, the tracks were a lot different. They were a lot firmer, and such a high pressure race, which we always talk about the Cox Plate being a high pressure race. This is where we do say they get going, and as soon as they got going, there was a fall, and it just turned the race on its head. Like, if you actually watch the replay, which we just did, Super's nearly second last on the outside, 5 wide, and the other horse, all those champion horses at the front, making their run and hitting the straight, and he just never gave in, and beat another great horse. So it's still going to be my favourite, and till the day I die, it's going to be my favourite. So very honoured to be able to see that horse, and again, Super was one of those horses that we got up close to, and Greg Hall, a great bloke as well. So I still talk to Greg now, and I've had him at conferences and that, and he's a great man. So have a lot of fun when we're with Greg, and just another one of my favourite Cox Plates.
So now we're at the 400 metre turn, and you really notice the camber here, Marty. It's at 7%, isn't it? Talk us through that.
It is, and Moonee Valley, back when it was built, was a bit like a velodrome, being such a tight track, probably one of the tightest tracks around. So the club, in the engineering of it, they put the 7% camber in, and a lot of people don't realise actually how steep the camber is. And probably another thing people don't realise is from back at the 800 there to the winner post is a 10-foot rise. So it's actually a really tough run at the Valley, and I've always said only good horses win at the Valley, and with the camber being here in the true, it probably doesn't have so much impact because it's pretty level all the way around. But as the rail moves out to our further positions, the camber really comes into it. And not every race, but some races you do see those horses really use the camber to their advantage, and they get it ping off it into the straight, and being such a short straight, it makes those horses look like they're coming home a lot quicker. And I suppose they're hard to win because you've got to pass horses in front of you. But just that's what creates that atmosphere and the excitement here at the Valley, is just the horses coming down off the camber, the short straight, and such a unique race course that it is.
And that camber, that obviously just tries to make everything a little bit more level, give those out wide a bit more of a chance.
Yeah, without a doubt. And people watch the Valley as well, and your tracks like Fleming and Caulfield, where you have the longest straights, the horses do get going at the 400, but it's in a straight and you don't notice it as much. And whereas here at the Valley, they still get going at the 400, because on the bend it doesn't seem to be playing any part in the race until they actually hit the 200. But the good riders and the smart riders at the Valley are making their moves early and get going. So it makes it exciting. And
so Marty, we're here at the 300, Legends Bar. It's obviously a great vantage point on Cox Plate Day. It wasn't named after you, was it?
No, I don't think it was, but it is a great venue. I actually had my 21st up there, and when it wasn't Legends, it was just the North Hill back in those days, and it was like a betting ring, and I had all my family and friends up there and had a great day. But they refurbed the Legends many years ago, and with the restaurant up there and the TAB and the poker machines and that, it's just one of the best venues on a race course around. And you only got to look behind us out there, the city views at night time. there's nothing better. If you want a romantic date, Benny, with the girlfriend, you can take her up to Legends and watch the lovely city views out there. But yeah, one of the best views in Melbourne at night time, especially when night racing's on. We generally get big crowds up there that they get the opportunity to have a night out, have a feed, and watch the races.
And Marty, now we're at the 100. We're in the home straight. Obviously, the running rail here goes red for the final 100 metres, and this is where you want to be hitting the front in the Cox Plate, already in front.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, being such a short straight, you only got that 177 metres from now, just past the 200, where the rail actually straightens to win the race. And I know in any big race that every jockey, they're very competitive blokes, and they're trying their hardest to win every race that they ride in. So, and a Cox Plate is one of the biggest ones you can have on your CV. So I know that they're all trying and they're giving everything to their horses, and they're just hoping they got the best horse on the day to win it. And yeah, we've been very fortunate to see some great horses win a great race.
So Marty, we've got to talk about the great mare Winx. She won 4 Cox Plates in a row, unbeaten, and it was about 8 lengths that she beat Hartnell. That's the biggest winning margin in a Cox Plate ever in that 2016 edition. What can you tell us about the great mare?
Yeah, she was a special horse, and only had 4 starts here at the Valley, 4 Cox Plates, and yeah, we'll never see that happen on this track again. And hopefully, you never know, in the future, the new track, we may get that opportunity to see it again. But yeah, it's just an amazing horse. It was her 3rd Cox Plate, I think, when she ran that record time, to match Kingston Town's record, which was from the 1980, 81, 82. So yeah, to see a horse do that in my time here at the Valley, I actually missed the Kingston Town era. I started just after that. So and I'd seen many horses win 2 Cox Plates, like Sunline, Norley, So You Think and all that, so Fields of Omar. But to actually be here and be involved in the track, and prepare it, and that's our greatest race, and have a superstar like Winx win 4 was just amazing and something I'll never forget. And on the gift that the club gave me, a Cox Plate with the 41 Cox Plate winners, to see 4 Winx in a row there on the right hand side, pretty amazing, and makes me quite emotional.
Absolutely. And all 4 of her Cox Plates were very different for their own reasons. Which one was your favourite?
Probably, to be honest, probably the last one, because that created history on its own, and not many people get the opportunity to be involved in something in the world that's a part of history. And I know that I had a small part to play, and I know that everyone in this club works for Cox Plate Day and puts in 110% leading into it. And we start playing Cox Plate the day after we finish one. So yeah, it's our greatest race day, and it's something that I remember, and just all the people I've worked with over those years. I've had different people in different positions, from racing managers to the marketing managers through to membership managers and all that, and even my staff. I've had many different staff over the years. So yeah, it's just the people I've worked with. I'm glad that I could be part of it and make my contribution to history of Moonee Valley Racing Club.
Marty, this is a very important one. This is the winning post. This is where you want your horses head down on the line during the Cox Plate. Tell us how this winning post has changed over the years.
Yeah, over the years we've had many winning posts, mainly because previous to this one we had to fold it down for the harness racing when we had harness racing back here. So we've always had different winning posts, different sizes and that. But yeah, with the new one we've got now, it's got a TV screen in it, so naturally we can put sponsors advertising on it, and even put the footy on, watch the Bombers win on it. So when I'm standing over in my office over there, so yeah, it's a nice winning post. I really do like it. The actual mirror is the original mirror though, and that's still part of the original winning post from back when I started here back in '84. So yeah, big part of the racetrack, and yeah, like you say, you've got to be in front in this line, and you win the races at the Valley.
So Marty, the winning horse crosses the line first, and they come to the winner's circle. That's where you watch most of your races, but the Cox Plate winner takes a bit of a trot up the home straight, and that's one of the great things you love about the Cox Plate.
Yeah, without a doubt. One of the great traditions of the Cox Plate is that we get Pato, the clerk of the course, to take the winner down the straight and present to the crowd, because the horses are here for them, not just us here. So and the members. So we give the opportunity for the crowd to acknowledge the champion of that race on that day. So yeah, and Winx did it 4 times, and I still remember that moment when Huey threw his helmet into the crowd, and some lucky person in the public there's got Huey Bowman's helmet from a Cox Plate win on Winx. So probably something that they'll treasure for the rest of their lives. So yeah, it's one of my favourite parts. We send them down there, and then I get the opportunity to welcome them into the winner's circle, and we have so many media and that out here, and the atmosphere and all that. It's just amazing. But yeah, it's been my office for the last 15 years standing here, and it's one of my favourite spots. When it rains, it's not the most enjoyable, but I do welcome a lot of friends into my office on a race day. So yeah, it's a pleasure. So welcome to Marty's office.
And obviously, once a horse has won the race, we get these gates. You get the other one.
I'm famous for the gates, so
We've even seen you put the winning saddlecloth on a few horses, and we like to watch our races from here, don't we, and hang over the fence.
and I've even put the wrong saddlecloth on a horse once too, which wasn't probably the best thing to do, but yeah, I don't do that too often. As much as I love horses, I'm actually scared of horses, so I'm lucky that I have my companion here, Sam, that loves the horses and loves putting the saddlecloths on them now, but I reckon I'll put the saddlecloth on me last one on Friday night. And yeah, I've even strapped a few. You know, you get those trainers come here and the strapper might be a bit lost, or they're doing an interview and I go out there and strap them and they put slobber all over my suit and all that stuff. But yeah, I do love horses, and you know, I love being up and close and personal time. And yeah, it's an amazing place. And here, Moonee Valley, because the crowd's so close and that the atmosphere is just amazing, and especially Cox Plate Day, that's my favourite day, and you know, I enjoy every minute of it.
So Marty, we've made our way off the track and we're in the Moonee Valley mounting yard, a famous mounting yard, and I think it's one of the better ones, even though it's one of the older ones. It's going to be the final time you walk down here after your race 8 tomorrow night.
Yeah, and yeah, a little bit of history about the mountain yard. Just is those two trees that have been in the middle of the mountain yard for 41 years. It was actually something I planted here as an apprentice, those two trees. And yeah, so they're 41 years old, both of them, and they'll be here a bit longer than me until the redevelopment actually comes along. But they're going to be here at least probably 43 years before they maybe get knocked down. But yeah, they're something that means something to me personally, and yeah, I've looked after them the best I can. Like I look after the track to make sure they're always nice and healthy, and many famous people have stood under those trees over the years. So yeah, it's like I said, sad moment, and yeah, a bit of an honour to be able to walk down here for the final time, and you know, the club to name a race in my honour as the final race on my final day is, I'm very honoured and very proud of that. So,
Well, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure, obviously, sharing these last 4 years with you, but you've been here for 41 years, so congratulations.
Thanks, Benny.
Good luck on the Sunshine State. This has been the final lap with Marty Synan.